Hello, cat. How are you? Put this stuff over here. And this is not your folder. Hope things are going well. It's getting more spring-like, isn't it? Even though it's been very cold, but that sun, it's high in the sky and it's warm and bright. So we're moving forward. I'm looking forward to it. I've had a bit of a knee injury this winter, so I haven't been able to ski at all. Not that I think I'm missing a whole lot. You've probably been skiing, right? It's kind of been a weird snow year. So I'm looking forward to spring. Walk outside with shorts and a t-shirt and bare feet. Ah, it feels good. Okay. On to our drum lesson. Let's dive into the paradiddle thing. So, that looked really good. Yeah, you weren't playing paradiddles on the eighth notes. You were playing single strokes, but, you know, the paradiddles look good. Sometimes you were only playing one measure of paradiddles. Whatever. It sounds really good. I like the technique that you have going on with your hands and your sticks. Like, when you use your toms, they sound nice and full. I can tell the sticks are coming off the heads. You have a relaxed thing, and you're really feeling the bounce of those drums. And it can feel different, right? Like, you go over to your floor tom, that's like a mushy, spongy thing compared to like a snare drum or the tops of the hi-hats, right? Which are very hard and super bouncy. But it doesn't seem to bother you, which is really cool. You're moving around those drums and cymbals, and you have this nice, relaxed, loose thing in your sticks while still having control. And as a result of that, you're getting a really good sound. So I don't think I've mentioned that before, but it's something I've noticed with your playing. Usually that's a thing I have to talk about with people because it's not really happening. But for you, it's happening. So whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Okay, so for this stuff this week, I took a picture of this and I just erased the sticking that I had in here. Thankfully, I used pencil. I wasn't planning on that, but I used pencil and I erased and changed some things. Obviously, I started writing some stuff down here, which is what we're going to do next, but I started writing it and I was like, wait, no. We have a little bit more to do on this one before we move on here. So, we're incorporating paradiddles, doubles, and singles, and roughs now. You remember roughs from when we were working on rudiments? You do. If not, I'll refresh your memory. So here's what we're going to do. And probably for this week, maybe we just get this together on snare drum with the feet up to 80 or whatever. And then, of course, we'll play around with moving it around the kit. But it's probably going to be enough to just hang out on snare drum. So first measure is paradiddles. Second measure is double strokes, right, left, right, left, etc. Third measure is single strokes, right, left, etc. And then the fourth measure of quarter notes is roughs, where we have those two little draggy things before an accented note. And you'll notice that we have left, right, right, left. So it alternates your two sides there. Cool. So, again, for this week, probably the goal is to just get this happening on snare drum. With the feet. Around 80. You'll maybe want to start slower, which is fine, of course. You know the deal. But here is 80. 80. There's 80. Whoops, I messed up. Did I mess up? Maybe I didn't mess up. Sorry. My brain took a vacation for a second. Getting into those roughs at the end is a little bit tricky because we end on a left in that eighth note measure, and then we start with the left on the quarter note measure. Doable, though. You may want to try it slower. Let me slow it down, actually. Let's go down to 70. And let me refresh your memory on roughs. So, again, a right-handed rough has that accent with the right hand and two little notes with the left hand right before it. So you might want to spend a few minutes just remembering how to play those, right? You don't need a metronome, just do it slow and remember what that is. See if you can get them to sound like that. Our two little notes, they're not too far apart, like this. They're not too close together, like a buzz. Right? They're just that perfect close spacing. And then do the same thing with the other side, left-handed roughs, where the left hand is the accented note, and you have two little right hands coming before it. Okay, so refresh yourself on those. And maybe the next step would be to put it with a metronome in the feet and just play the last measure, the roughs, being able to alternate back and forth between the two sides without getting messed up. Like this. So I have two rights and then two lefts. Repeat. Okay, and that was 70. That still might be too fast, which is fine. Just go down to 60 or 55 or something like that. Now let me try to demonstrate the whole thing again at 70. So one measure of paradiddles, one measure of double strokes, and then single strokes as eighth notes, and then the roughs for the last measure of quarter notes. Okay, takes a little bit of focus. That one measure of paradiddles, for me, goes by faster than I think it does. So I'm playing paradiddles, and then before I know it, I'm switching to double strokes. So keep an eye out for that. It involves a certain amount of focus, which I didn't seem to have today on the first pass. Okay, so that's the goal with that stuff for this week. And let's talk about the rim shot. So, you changed the beat from what I gave you last week. It's fine. You can play that beat. So, at 75, Lolo needs to come in. Excuse me. So you just added an extra kick drum. It's no big deal. You can play that beat. It's still a simple beat. And we're at 75. And we're trying to make all our back beats rim shots. Which you were doing a pretty good job of, actually. It's better than it was last week. And now you have it within a beat, and it was still pretty decent. Okay, so the beat that I gave you was just a simple 1 and 3 on the kick. And you were doing this. Right? It's fine. It doesn't matter so much, but choose one and stick with it, I guess. Okay, so here's a couple tips as far as getting the rim shot together. First of all, practice it every day for the next 3 months. You already got that tip. But no, really, a couple things. I think we talked about this position where we bring our right hand forward enough so that the left stick can clear, so that we don't have that happening. I think we talked about that at one point. So let's come back to that. So the right hand's forward, because what I want to do is have you play harder with your left hand. It's easier to get a consistent rim shot if you're hitting it harder. And not that we always want to play a hard rim shot, but in learning how to play a rim shot, it'll just make your life easier if you play them hard for a while. Then worry about being able to play them softer. Okay? So in order to play harder with the left hand, we're going to need to bring the stick up higher, which means the right hand's going to get in the way. So let's bring that forward so that we have that position going on so that the left hand can come up higher, right? Okay, so that stick height, it's like coming up to my nose. It's like pretty high, but it's so much easier to get a good rim shot if I'm playing at that volume. So that's tip number 2, I suppose. And then, okay, so don't look at it. Everyone does this. So, because it's like so hard, right? And we're just like, oh my goodness, I have to look at it and make sure that I'm getting a rim shot. I have to see it. Train yourself to not look at it. And it might make it so that you're going to hit even less rim shots. But we need to be able to feel it. It's totally a feel thing. Play around with your throne height and your snare height. If you're having trouble, slight adjustments there can help, as I mentioned before, but like, don't look at your hand. Just look somewhere else. Keep your head up and try to feel the rim shot. Okay. And I think that's all I got for you for this week on rim shots. One other thing I'll mention now, which I was going to mention in the next thing we're going to look at, which is those the beats with the ride cymbal. Bring a little bit more arm into your left hand backbeat when we're playing them hard. What I see you doing, which is cool, especially for lower volumes, is playing everything from the wrist. So your left hand looks kind of like... It looks kind of like that. Everything's from the wrist, but bring a little bit more arm into it. And that'll give you some more volume and more power and take the strain off your wrist. that? So my whole arm comes up and down in order to play loud. I'm also using my wrist. But I'm using my arm too. So it's both of those things. It's not just wrist and it's not just arm. That would look really weird, right? So it's arm and wrist. Ah, a lot to think about. See, I'll do it super slow. Okay. That starts to get into a technical area that I don't want to get into today. But just be aware of that. See if you can sort of allow some of your arm to come into it more. But keep the wrist thing going on at the same time. Okay. And then I'll look at it next week and see what we're going to do from there. Okay. The beats. So, eighth note backbeat grooves. 4 measures of each. Reading the page. And we had our right hand on the ride cymbal, and we had our left hand on the snare drum, of course, with our stick turned around backwards, playing right in the middle. Your middle was pretty good. Could be more in the middle. Check the position of your snare drum. I know you kind of just went through this, but it looks like your snare might be maybe a little bit too far to the left of your left, is what I was maybe seeing. So drummer's left, it looked like it was maybe a little too far towards the hi-hats, and you were consistently playing off to the right of center, it seemed like. And that may, like I said, that may be more of like, well, just move the snare over a little bit, because you want to keep your balanced body position. So basically, like when you sit down at your drum kit and you just pull your arms up and you make this pie shape with your sticks and you just play, drop your sticks, they should fall right in the middle of the snare drum, like they just did for me, right? Right there, boom. That means your snare's in the perfect spot. If they don't fall in the middle, move your snare, not your arms, okay? Okay, so playing in the middle, and then we already talked about incorporating some more arm, because I noticed you were trying to get louder with your backbeat, like I mentioned last week, and you were a little bit, but it was just a little bit. We want more, right? Still more. Right hand, you can play around with that cymbal position like I talked about last week. It doesn't look like it's in a horrible position, but as I mentioned and sent you some pictures, there's other options there. So you should play around with it and find out, like, where does it actually feel good to put my ride cymbal, instead of like just putting it there because it looks like maybe it should go there. No, put it where it feels good. This drum set, this instrument is all about putting stuff where it feels good and where it works for your body in an efficient way. Like almost every other instrument doesn't have this problem because they're not adjustable. If you sit down at a piano, the keys are always in the same place. You play a saxophone, the keys are always in the same place. Like it is what it is. But this kit, you can move things wherever you want. And you need to find out where things need to be for your body and where they feel good to you. You got all kinds of variables to deal with. You got angles of things, heights of things, distance of things from one to another, distance of things from your body to whatever it is. It's like, it's endless, right? Okay, so I've been playing drums for like, I don't know, 35 years or whatever. I'm still moving things a little bit here and there, like still trying to fine tune it. Actually, I'm looking at this right now and I can see that this crash cymbal got slightly moved. I bumped into it or something and it was literally like a half an inch too far that way, and I look over at it and it bothers me because it's not in the perfect place. So play around with make sure your snare position is right. play around with your ride cymbal position. You're playing the beats right. Still getting a little lost in our form, right? 4 bars, 4 bars, 4 bars, 4 bars, 4 bars, repeat. That's what it is. It's not anything else, right? So, takes focus. And then getting our backbeat louder. The volume of the ride cymbal was better. I would still say it could be a little bit less for the type of cymbal that you have. You could still cut that volume back a little bit more. And then, what else? That's about it on those, I guess. I'll play them again so you can see them. But do these for another week. And I think you said you were at 80. Can you get them up to 90? I'll play them at 90 for you. Maybe you can get them up to 90. That would be cool. And then just being aware and fine-tuning all of those little things I just talked about. But overall, very nice. So, here we go. Ga, ga. So, just one other thing that crossed my mind when I was playing that, which could be confusing or contradicting to what I've been saying, because we talk a lot about making the rights and the lefts the same volume, right? When we're doing those paradiddles on the snare drum or whatever it is. But in this situation, it's a little different, right? We're trying to make our right hand quieter than our left hand. Our left hand needs to be way louder than our right hand, right? They're on different sound sources, so it sounds different. It's a little harder to tell, but like that beat. I have like maybe 8-inch stick height on my right hand, and then I have like 18-inch stick height on my left hand, right? Because I want the snare to be popping and I want the ride cymbal to be not too loud. If I played all that on the snare drum, it would sound like this. Right? The left hand's way louder than the right. Okay, so we have to be able to do both. That's the moral of the story today. We need to be able to play evenly when we want to, and we need to be able to control different dynamics in different limbs when we want to. Okay, so in this beat situation, loud left hand, quiet right hand. So, cool. That'll be fun. More of that to come. That's it for today. Nice work. Hope things are groovy. See you next time. Adios.